Hey guys, Dave here. So, this week's episode, we discussed the new Certified Hunter program that the Pennsylvania Game Commission has just released. There's not a whole lot of information out there about it yet, but we have dug in as much as we possibly can and actually reached out to them about all of these questions that we have. We're still waiting on our response from them, but I'm sure they're going to get back to us, and we're going to continue to give you guys follow ups and updates with all of the information needed to be successful with this program. Whether you are a whitetail hunter in the state, like myself, or you own a large piece of property that's experiencing crop damage, this episode is for you. So please hit that follow, hit that subscribe, and share this. Everybody needs to know what is going on in our state, how we're all going to be successful. This could be big for everyone. It's huge. It really is. I just want to address the the audio issues lately. I'm sorry, guys. The quality is not the best, but due to us being in the military, there's not much we can do at the moment while we're not stateside. So it kind of is what it is. I hope you guys still give us a little good grace and continue to listen, but it's going to get better, I promise. So before we get in the episode, let's give our partners a little shout out here, show them a little love. Scrape Doctor, if you guys are looking to get into mock scrapes, give this guy a chance. Check out Scrape Doctor, get some ropes, get some scrape magic, and it's going to change your game. It's really going to up the ante on your mock scrape setups, and it'll help you out. Next, let's talk a little bit about Huntlight. Huntlight is a new saddle company that is changing the game. Everything that they have is versatile, it's lightweight, it's safe, they have awesome camo patterns. Huntlight is the way to go if you're looking to get into a saddle. And last, let's hit Rec Broadheads. These guys are fantastic. If you're looking for a big hole and a broadhead that is always going to open, this is your product. They have a hardened steel chisel point. They have thickened blades. They're great. These things are nasty, and you're not going to be disappointed. So let's get into the episode, and here we go.
Hey guys, 19 series here. I'm Jake,
I'm Dave.
and we have an exciting, interesting podcast for you today. Before we get started on that, though, we have a new member to the 19 series family. His name is Mr. Matt Hillier. How are you, Matt?
Good, guys.
So, before we get started, why don't you give us a little background on yourself and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, I'm glad to be part of the team, guys. I appreciate you bringing me on board here. A little bit about myself. For those that don't know, I enlisted in the Pennsylvania National Guard back in 2020, and I got to the unit and met these guys. And yeah, so here we are, and looking at getting ready to go into this fall, this hunting season, and see what we can get into.
All right, I like it.
Now, speaking of this fall, that's where all this comes into play. Today's episode. So, we're going to discuss a new program that the Pennsylvania Game Commission is sort of, I guess they're unveiling slowly but surely in a way. And it's called the Certified Hunter Program.
It's an interesting program when you think about it. Other states have programs similar. I think the Game Commission is going smarter about it. Not too much information out on it.
So,
Yeah.
really, like, from what I'm gathering, the gist of this thing is pretty much to get people access to land that they most likely wouldn't have known about beforehand.
Or wouldn't have been able to gain access to.
Yeah, so these farmers want their deer killed. They don't want them eating their crops. So they have these red tags, which I'm assuming the red tags will come into play, but not 100% sure yet. And then the Game Commission is going to tell these people, this group of certified hunters, whatever certified means, I don't really understand it all yet, but tell these guys, hey, there's deer here, the farmer wants them gone, and bada bing, bada boom, here we go. You're going hunting.
Yeah, it's weird. So pretty much what it is, it's pretty much just to uh, help landowners, mostly farmers, deal with crop damage in these high deer density areas. Now, I personally, from the farms that I hunt, I don't hear a whole lot about crop damage. Matt, you're in a little bit different of an area. Do you hear more about crop damage?
Yeah, for the guys that are really trying to maximize small chunks in South Central PA, I mean, you have a lot of the residential areas and wooded areas kind of mixed in amongst the ag fields, and anymore farmers are trying to maximize every bit they can off of that property. And when you have a high density deer population, they can demolish uh, soybeans and corn, and they can do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the benefits seem they seem pretty good for these farmers, right? These guys are going to have these deer just taken off. And that sounds great in theory for guys like us.
Yeah.
Cool, we get another spot to hunt. We get to go shoot some does, which it sounds like this program is only for antlerless hunting.
But that makes sense because a lot of your management tactics focus on your doe population, you know?
Yeah, I get that, but to play devil's advocate here, right? It sounds great, but is this just going to kill off our population? What do you guys think?
I have some facts pulled up here. So this is from the Game Commission itself. This is the deer estimate harvest. This was posted March 28th, 2025, and for the 2024-25 hunting season, the harvest was up 11%, estimated that 476,888 deer were harvested. 175,280 of them were antlered deer, and 301,600 were antlerless. Not much you can do with that data. It just shows you how much deer were taken. But per their management goals for this past season, it kind of lines up. And they have a couple other graphs on there. I don't want to dive into this just yet.
Yeah.
So Matt, what do you think? What's your perspective?
There's a couple numbers that I have pulled up here that I found online. So if we go back to 2022 for the red tag program, the Game Commission issued about 427 permits through its red tag program. And they say that it resulted in a distribution of 7,676 tags. Now these permits were for antlerless deer, specifically for properties that were enrolled in this program. So in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about some counties that issue out tens of thousands of tags for 3+ rounds, 7,600 tags doesn't sound that much for one program.
No, yeah, that's it almost sounds like a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, because when you think about when the red tag season is longer than your hunting season in theory. I'm not quite sure on what the seasons are. It's not typically around like May to mid to late June, but in theory, it's larger than your typical hunting season when majority of the deer in the state are taken.
Yeah, and so just to bounce some info off, like with this certified program that they're laying out, they haven't discussed a lot of the details yet. They haven't said where you're getting these tags, how many tags are going to be given out, how many people are even going to be allowed to enroll in this program or get selected.
Yeah, they've mostly rolled out like their requirements for it, what they plan to do with hunters enrolled in this program. I think it's pretty solid, to be honest. Essentially, you're going through another hunter safety course, but it's a little more in depth, and you have to be proficient to pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so they've laid out there's a marksman test you have to take whether you're going to hunt with a rifle, shotgun, or archery equipment,
or if it's open to all.
Yeah, there's just a lot of gray areas. Like they say there's this marksman test, but they haven't discussed where the test is going to be, or how often these tests are going to be open,
or how long the license lasts.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different things. So it sounds exciting, but I'm still kind of skeptical. I don't know. What do you think?
When you look at
Yeah,
It's getting factual again.
go ahead, Jake.
This was their 24-25 antlerless allocation plan, and it it just makes this program makes sense for what they're trying to do with these WMUs. So they're rolling it out just in the southeastern portion of the state, and we all know there's a high deer density down there.
Yeah, there's ag.
But this is also an area where they have CWD, and in order to stabilize this populations, they want to reduce the population, which makes sense in theory, however which way you look at it. But it's honestly more or less more confusing than it is.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of stuff that I want answered.
And then you run into, the like you were doing earlier with the devil's advocate. You run into the FUD excuses, I like to call them. Oh, you're going to kill off all the deer. Oh, you're going to do this. Well, for your average hunter, it may seem like that. According to the allocation plan, they did opinionated population studies based on Pennsylvania resident, not just hunting residents, but residents in general. There are people that said that population's too high. This is running back 2019, and 2011.
Kind of way back.
It is way back, but there's also more opinion-based votes on deer population being too low. Now, note, and you guys can look this up as well. It's a PDF. They put it out every year. They'll probably put one out. They might have already put one out for this upcoming season. There is one piece of data. It says it comes from general firearms season respondents, meaning those guys that only go out, they hunt first day of rifle season. They don't see anything,
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just don't base the deer population off of that one day, and don't say that this program is going to cause a mass decrease. You know what I mean? I think this program's targeted towards those hardcore hunters and those guys that use the meat and all that throughout the year. But that's just me.
Yeah, they're marketing / branding this as an elite club. Like, you want putting that certified in front of it makes it sound like this is some cool special group, and that, I don't know if it is or not.
I mean, look at the other states that have it. Illinois, Maryland, they call them snipers. It's like a sniper section,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Sorry, Matt. We've been yapping on.
No, you guys are
Chime
good.
on in.
I love hearing what you guys' take is on this, because I certainly have my own opinions. Without all the details of the program and how it's going to work and the little bit of information that has been put out, GoErie.com back in February of 2024 put together a little article, and the program was titled a little bit different than it is what they're advertising it as now. And the way they kind of described it as a database for landowners to be able to get in touch with certified hunters. And the pitch is that they want landowners that are struggling with crop damage from these deer populations. They wanted them to feel like they could trust the people and know the people and think and understand that they've been vetted before they come out and have them on their properties. And I think that's great. I think there's a lot of landowners that, especially farmers, that don't get to hunt as much as they'd like, and they don't have the ability to kind of keep the population in check themselves. And they'd be more than happy to let people come hunt their property. But with that, you don't know what kind of ethics that person has or what their skill level is. So I think if this program is solely put in place to be able to vet hunters before they step foot on private property, that's great. My question is, for these properties that enroll in this, are they basically opening themselves up to be the equivalent of public land? Like, am I going to roll in there in the morning and is there going to be 10 other trucks parked there? Or if you are a certified hunter, do you get matched up with Joe that lives in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and there's 5 of you, and only you 5 get to hunt this property? It really is one of those things that's a lot of questions have to be answered.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. We actually reached out to the game commission. We sent them an email asking a lot of these questions that we're kind of bringing up here, and that was one of them. Because my concern is, I don't want to say I get an email or a phone call or a text from the game commission saying, "Hey, this property wants deer killed." I don't want to show up there and see 50 other trucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see the Pennsylvania Orange Army out there in full effect, because that's kind of just wasting everybody's time.
Kind of feel like that's part of what the game commission wants to mitigate come, rifle season.
And I hope they do.
You know what I mean?
This would be awesome if they can figure out the logistics.
Because if you think about it, when are deer most pressured? Rifle season. That's when you have the most guys in the woods. That's when you have the most deer getting taken. It's going to reduce pressure on the deer in the hardest portion of the month, or hardest portion of the year, or the beginning of the hardest portion of the year, which is winter. Food's starting to really decrease. They're really struggling. It's getting cold. And instead of wasting their energy running from people, they're going to be conserving energy by staying bedded, finding that close food source, or whatever it may be,
Yeah, this could be a great thing for public land if it takes away some of that pressure, but it could do the exact opposite and just apply more pressure on private pieces.
But if you think about it too, so say you're a guy like me where most of your meat comes from what you shoot in the season, right? Say you shoot 5 deer before the first day of even archery, right? There's your meat, your red meat for the year, essentially,
Yeah.
So I
It's
think
just-
to that, Pennsylvania has a really good program that a lot of butcher shops local to me participate in, and it's hunters sharing the harvest. And I think this would also be a great opportunity if this program, whether you're talking about private land being pressured or not, the sole purpose is to reduce the population to allow the farmer to be more effective in what he's doing, right? So if you're looking at it from that perspective, people get on the property, they harvest more deer, whether they feed themselves, donate it. Hunters sharing the harvest would probably benefit from this greatly, mainly because you have extra tags being filled that, like for myself, for example, I typically utilize 2 deer throughout the year. If I get an extra doe tag and I harvest that doe, either I share with landowners that I have permission from, share with friends and family, or you can also donate to Hunters Sharing the Harvest. I think that's a great program.
If I was selected for this, right, which I applied, if I was selected, I would probably be donating some of that, if not most of that meat. Because, dude, it's just me and Kayla.
Yeah.
We don't have enough freezer space for me to kill 6 deer a year and us to use it all. I would definitely be donating to a program like that.
Yeah.
Or honestly, just
anybody
who
wants it. And we all know somebody that when deer season rolls around, oh, you're gonna give me some deer meat, yeah?
Like that. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great program, great thing people are doing.
And to caveat off something you said, reducing the crop damage, right, is going to increase that farmer's yield, which increases that farmer's profit.
He's making more money.
He's making more money. You're putting more money back into the economy because now it's not going to make a huge surplus, but it's going to make a surplus.
It's something,
and it's going to help increase the words. I lost them. I had such a good thought going. It's going to increase the economy in that area, and maybe if it spreads to the whole state, across the state. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting program. I don't think PA's had something like this before.
I can't recall anything. How about Matt? Have you ever heard of anything like this in Pennsylvania?
No, I was kind of surprised when you guys shared this with me and I started looking into it. I got really excited, and then, all the questions started coming in logistically, how they're going to do this. But I'm not aware of a program like this that's open to the public per se.
Yeah, I would. Hey, and if anybody's listening that works at the Pennsylvania Game Commission and you want to contact us, go for it.
Yeah,
We would
please
love
do.
to pick your brain. We'll even bring you on here.
Yeah.
We could talk publicly
Yeah.
about everything. Because
Absolutely.
there's a lot of questions we have, but it seems like this could be something that's really beneficial for all parties as long as it's ran the correct way.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about the benefits that the landowners and the farmers get, but there's also benefits from this the hunters get. Like I said, you're going through a little bit more of an in-depth hunter safety course. You're getting a little bit more marksmanship training, which you can always go through more marksmanship training. You know what I mean? I believe they're offering an Onyx subscription as well.
Yeah, and it says about free ammo.
Yeah,
Like-
it sounds like they're providing ammo to you to do this.
Yeah, don't hold us to that, but that we're just going off what PA.gov says.
Yeah, it's interesting because when have you ever gotten free ammo? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it seems like a really cool deal. I'm just still a little like, how are they going to pull this off?
Well, not only that, I don't know if either of you touched on it or not. Is there a limit? Is there a limit to the number of hunters, especially with this being the first year it's being rolled out and only in, maybe three or four WMUs or say counties or whatever? Is there a limit on the number of hunters in this program? And then when it goes statewide, what is that number going to look like? Is it going to increase? Is it going to decrease? Now that's looking long term, but it's something to keep in mind that if you're in this program from, say, the beginning, if you get the opportunity to be in it, what's the competition going to look like?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could almost see this turning into like a lottery system in the next few years if it keeps gaining popularity and they make it broader and broader.
I mean, so be it. I mean, it's going to bring revenue to the Game Commission and all that,
Yeah.
It's going to put, hopefully, if they use it right, it's going to be put back into.
Like how you said that.
Yeah, it'll absolutely
Hopefully.
generate revenue. I mean, think about it this way. You have a lot of people that don't have access to private property for whatever reason. Either it's because there's not in their area that they can get access to, or they don't have time to go around and do the door knocking and talking to people. So if you wave your magic wand and the Game Commission says, okay, there's X amount of farms and X amount of acres to hunt, you have access to it, you're in the program, go do it. Well, people start talking and, this program starts to gain popularity. And the next thing you know, you have more people buying licenses each year and getting back into hunting or doing more hunting because now they have the ability to hunt property that they previously didn't have access to.
This could be really big for people that are like more of the older community, the kids,
Yeah.
stuff like that, where if you could get enrolled, say you have a 10-year-old kid, right? You're taking them out of there on the mentor program.
Yeah.
This could be big for them just to ignite that little spark.
Yeah.
Or say Pappy's 70 years old,
Can't get in the woods.
can't get in the woods, but he can go out and sit on somebody's farm and shoot a doe. I mean, hey, that could be his last year.
What I'm getting from this program is while there are negatives in the fact that yes, it could very well reduce our deer population and put a halt to this program at some point, which, so be it. We're going to have a better, in my opinion, we're probably going to have a better deer population on the tail end of that. You know what I mean? Your doe ratio's down. Those bucks are now, breeding a little more decisively now. But the revenue, if you think about it, if the Game Commission is providing ammunition and you're getting people into the woods that previously either don't have the time or weren't into the woods, you're putting money into, what's the words I'm looking here for? What I'm trying to get at is every time you buy something, I touched on it once in a previous podcast, is every time you buy something hunting or I dare say fishing related as well, you pay an 11% excise tax. 11% tax on firearms and ammunition, archery equipment, and 10% tax on pistols and revolvers. Um, the Pittman-Robertson Act of 1937 and the Dingell-Johnson Act of 1950. That the 11 and 10% goes directly back into wildlife management. So every time you buy clothes, a gun, ammunition, what have you, it goes back into wildlife conservation and management. And that's a huge positive that I can see coming out of this. Figure the amount of tons of ammo the Game Commission would possibly have to buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And 11% at the price of fucking ammunition now is astronomical. You know,
It's gonna add up quick.
but that's just my opinion. You know, who am I to say that it's going to do well or do bad? You know, it's to be seen. It's the first year, but who knows? You know, people felt the same way about the antlerless restrictions. You know,
Yeah. I think Pennsylvania's making the right moves. You can see the deer density has come up substantially, I feel, since we were kids.
oh, without a doubt.
And we're creating better and better bucks every year. Because that's what people like, right?
Yeah.
People want to shoot big bucks.
Yeah.
But I do feel like they're taking the right steps. They're making the right moves. And it is getting better and better and better. But this could be a good move. Yeah, it could be a step back. I don't know.
It seems like an overall goal, like we keep saying, is reduction. CWD is a driving factor in
I
that.
was waiting for that to come up. So, Matt, what do you think? Do you think that this program has anything to do with the CWD?
It's possible, but I also think that the Game Commission, when it comes to CWD, they come right out and say it, and they're not afraid to advertise that this is a CWD program. So, in my opinion, while there might be ulterior motives in this to control some CWD, I don't necessarily think that that's the front that they're working with here. I genuinely think that this is a program that's looking to kind of get the hunting population excited, get more land opened up and available to hunters. I mean, Pennsylvania has 12 to 13 hunters per square mile. It's either, I mean, it's up there in the top three, I believe. I could be wrong, but in the United States for
Yeah, I think it's Pennsylvania and Michigan are the top two. Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
I know it's up there. So there's only so many acres to hunt, and I think if they're going to open up more property to these people, I think it's great.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you thought maybe this was being disguised at all, but no, you brought up a good point. They do normally just come out and say it when they're trying to do something to prevent CWD.
Yeah, and I think they try and act swiftly to get it under control. I mean, we've experienced something similar down in southwestern part of Tennessee. We have some family that owns property that we are fortunate to hunt down there, and they had a big problem with it. And they opened up the seasons, they extended the seasons, longer rifle seasons, more tags, and it helped. I mean, quite a few deer were harvested, and they had tests, and you had to get your deer checked at different stations if you harvested. But now it's gotten to a point where there's a healthier population, and they've kind of reeled in some of the bag limits now. But it's still a great, healthy population, and it'll be there for the future.
Yeah.
It kind of caveats on what you and I were talking about before the podcast, before we started recording, how if you take deer out, it gives those genetically stronger deer a chance to reproduce.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into the CWD thing, but let's kind of get back onto that. We touched on it earlier. Let's get back onto that certified word a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like you said earlier, Matt, a lot of landowners are hesitant to just let random Joe Schmo come in there and walk around with a gun. So I do like the way that they're doing this. They're making people, first off, apply for it. Like, they have some requirements set out. Like, you have to have a license for the last 4 out of 5 years, no violations in the past 3 years. You got to be 18. You got to pass a background check, which I don't see anything wrong with this stuff. You have to pass their written exam and their shooting test. I really like that they have a marksmanship test laid out, because you don't want guys just going in there and slinging and winging and
No,
dinging and missing.
it's crazy how many people do that. I know so many people that, you go to their camp or you're getting ready for hunting season, and it's the day before opening day of rifle, right after Thanksgiving, and everyone's sitting there pulling their shotgun or their rifle out that they haven't shot since last year, and they put a couple rounds through it and call it good. I mean, eh, I think
Yes.
this program's going to be fantastic from the perspective that they're vetting these people on written knowledge and their physical capabilities.
I agree. I agree 100%. It's like I said it earlier. I'll say it again. It's like they're making a small, like, I shouldn't say small because this is probably going to get big,
Yeah.
but an elite team. And if they're actually here and dedicated to help these farmers out, that's what you need. You need somebody to go in and take care of the problem.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of preventative measures to keep, Bubba from the holler from getting into this. The guy, like you said, that shoots 3 rounds the day before opener, or, is taking them unethical shots, poaching, that kind of stuff, and gearing it towards those diehard guys, those guys that want to try and help. And the guys that the health of the herd and the health of the community matter to.
Yeah, and another thing I like that they're doing is they're providing a liaison. So they're giving you somebody from the Pennsylvania Game Commission that is giving you the information on where to hunt, and I'm assuming when to hunt.
Yeah.
And I like that because it's going to take the whole poaching deal out of it. There's going to be no way to cheat. There's no way for these guys to just roll out there and do whatever they want, because the Game Commission is there step by step.
Yeah. And it's, I believe, again, it's up in there. The landowners tell the Game Commission how they want it done on their property. Written, signed by the landowners on how they want things to operate, which prevents, those late night excursions, those left gear, let them lay in the field, those guys that, will trash it up, come out there drunk, whatever it may be. And like I said, gears it towards those guys that are going to do it right.
There was something in there that they advertised about they encouraged landowners to create a hunter's guidebook. And I think that could be very valuable to this program if they have people from the Game Commission that kind of can help draft these and set these up. So let's just say whether you get assigned to this property or if it's basically becomes like open public property, that if you're going to hunt there, what that landowner's intentions are and where to access, where you can shoot, where you can't shoot, times of the year. I mean, there's really a lot of information that's going to have to be kind of put in these and structured in a way that people have access to it and they know how to follow it. But in my mind, I really hope this becomes something that's maybe done at a bit more of a smaller level, where a property gets assigned a couple of people, depending on how big it is, and you kind of get to develop a relationship, one, with the landowner and help them with their problem, but two, develop relationships with the other people that are hunting there. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I share property that other hunters use now, and we're always texting each other saying, "Hey, when are you going? Or are you going to this spot? I'm going to go to this spot." And you talk about what you saw, how your night was, and I think it's pretty cool. So to be able to do that at a bigger level across the state would be I mean, I think it's pretty cool, but like I said, I don't know if that's how this is going to work or not.
Yeah, so it kind of seems like, piggybacking off what you just said, that they could potentially turn this into almost like a lease, right? Where you have 5, 6 guys that get assigned to each property, which would be lights out. That would be fantastic, and I think that would be best case scenario for all parties, not just the hunters, but the landowners as well. That way, they don't have just a ton of people rolling in and out.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I can't find I can't find too many negatives with this program. You know,
I think there's a lot of
are
information that needs to come out yet, and I'm definitely going to be eagerly awaiting to see what they come up with. But from what they've posted and kind of how they have it set up, I think they're definitely on the right track. But there could be some things that really change the dynamics of this program depending on what decisions are made on how to run it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get some more information on this based off the email we sent asking questions and then just enrolling in it.
Yeah.
Because I got a response right away, an automated response, but got a response saying that I'm being reviewed and that I will receive another email with more instructions soon. So hopefully that will answer some of our questions, and we can come back on here and do an update once we figure out some of this information.
Yeah, especially if we get accepted into it and all that. It'll be an interesting update, to say the least.
Yeah, hell, that'd be funny if we all got rejected.
Yeah.
Be a real slap in the face, huh?
Wow. All right.
But yeah, it seems cool. It seems like this could be a step in the right direction to help these guys make some more money, save some of their crops, and just give us normal guys some extra property to use and hopefully harvest some more deer.
Yeah, because like I said, I eat most of my meat comes from when I catch and kill. So to have a little extra deer meat throughout the year would be nice.
Absolutely, it's just more opportunity.
Yeah.
You got anything else, Matt?
No, sir, I'm good.
Well, I can open up a poll on this post if I can figure out how to do that, and you guys either say yes or no, whether you like it or not. Comment what you think. Comment any questions, and we can try and get them answered.
Yeah, because there's not many programs that I like to be in, but sounds like one that I would really like to be in.
Yeah, we really took a deep dive in this.
We did. We found out about it about 2.5 hours ago, and we went straight down the rabbit hole.
We've been just researching nonstop. We have pages in our notebooks just filled with different stuff written down. This is cool. It's a big opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah, and we'll bring you guys along the whole step of the way for the process. If it's something that you want to get into, we can. I don't know how much help we can get you into it, but we can at least direct you to the right place to get help.
But yeah, share this with your friends. Tell people about it. Click share on this post. Tell people. Do whatever, because I want to see what everybody's thinking on this.
Yeah,
and I want to see people get enrolled and gain the positives out of it. At least if we're going to do this, hey boys, let's do it.
Yeah, take it to the moon.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't really have anything else on it.
No, we covered I think everything about just about.
All right, well we'll wrap this baby up.
Yep, we'll catch you on the next one. Everybody, stay safe out there, I guess.
Yeah. See you guys.